Nerdburger, my nerd crush. My nerd crush, I want to show you, like, guys, world, are you enjoying this, it's weird, like, it's like the Lion King, like the hyenas and the lions uniting, um, right? Which is vibrated, hang on, guys. Oh, it's letting me know that I'm live. Oh, okay. Thank you, Gmail and YouTube for doing that. So anyhow, I wanted to show because Nerve Burger gave me some tips, right? Some nerd tips, and really at this point it's not nerdy. It's not white and nerdy to know tech, right? And I've been aware of that, Nerve Gorilla. I think you had me pegged for somebody who is anti-tech. No, I'm anti-stupid, okay? And I'm aware that we're in this technological age, and would it be nice to just go in the woods and play the pan flute like Homer Simpson wanted to do once? Yes, sure, but we're not there, and we're never going to go back to that. I I don't think. I don't know. I can't just wish, and I can't be wishing and hoping and praying on that, right? So anyhow, I figured it'd be funny, right? I'm involving you world in this, but this is really just for me and Nerve Burger, okay? Because it just is. So, and I don't want to, I just want him to see, right? Want him to see that I'm trying, and I want to see if, like, how this goes smoothly, right? So let's see. So we're going to do this thing that he tells me to do first. He tells me to download something, and it's downloading. 52 minutes or 1 hour left. Yes, he did warn me it might take some time. So, but it is downloading. Okay, I guess that's it, Nerve Burger. So yeah, like step one. But yeah, like, and I also wanted to ask you, Nerve Burger. Well, I guess I could just do this in email. But like, or just in general, like all you people who always respond to my questions, well, no, like, what's the overall vote on, like, personal devices? These phones that we speak of, right? That we're all addicted to. Are you guys like, what's the nerd thing? It feels like nerds go with Androids, right? Is that true? Versus iPhone and Apple? Because I always was a just obviously like an Android. Because guys at Walmart, they do this, like, my style. My style is cheap, 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 and I like cheap. What I say, like the typical, like, I've got the Ashkenazi or whatever things I think going on in my bloods. Would I say it like how that kind of cheap is there? So no, no, no. My cheap, and guys, okay. So now this is gonna be your aunt. Okay, so while we wait, I might as well, right? Will it let me know when it's done downloading? Like, what? No, I know that much, Nerve Burger. Nerve Burger, I know you, like, talk in a condescending way, and patronizing way, purposefully, but your intent is usually that. But in my case, even if it's so funny, it's like, even if I think at this point people are trying to insult me, I'm so genuinely, like, just whatever you want to call it, that, like, curious, that I'm like, it kind of bounces off of me, like the intentions. I've noticed that with my son Damon, because, guys, I've mentioned, I bring up the autism thing a lot, right? And it's not, and as far as, like, labeling, like psychological labeling, like, hey, ADHD or this or that or this or childhood trauma, it's never to, like, excuse things, right? It's always my intention is always to, and sometimes labeling is bad, but the intention behind mine is so that it can help better if you're truly trying to be like a problem solver, right, in this world. And we're talking, for me specifically, it seems to involve other, like, humans, right? And humans in general have this issue of, like, having problems amongst each others. Some kind of label kind of helps, and understandings, like, because that's why, to me, honesty is the best policy, because how are you supposed to, like, solve shit when you're not not explaining. The case for my sister, like, I made this video explain, like, because my sister is helping me, guys, and it's like that she doesn't really know what my problem is. You know, she's just going by like me asking her for help because I'm always in these flustered states when I need her, and she just, you know, is kind enough to help. But if she understood my problem as a whole, she might be like, well, why don't you do this instead? And if I'm going to help you with finance or whatever, you know, like, hey, why don't you do this instead? You know, so that's why I label. So with my son and like the autism thing, I just feel it's prevalent to my story and all that. Hello, person. Don't be shy, whoever's views are. I know. I've mentioned this on the live. I've mentioned that I don't find it creepy when I used to feel like when I'd go on other people's live streams and not speak, they like the whole world knew that it still was me. Like, because they're like, hey, like I still felt I still felt outcasted in these live streams that are supposed to be like there's some kind of like you know, invisibility cloak going on. No, I was like, oh no, they think I'm creepy and leave. But it is true, like especially a small count channel, like clearly it's just you. But I never expect people to chat or anything. It's cool, you know. It's kind of like you're just hanging out with people. That's why that was the intention of. So if you're new, you're walking in here, person that YouTube insists on me knowing is in here. What I'm doing is I made Nerve Burger, right? Nerve Burger. He gave me some nerd tips that I followed, and I started the process. And because it's long, like he said, I just figured I'll just chill live now, and I wanted to show him that I'm doing it, and that while we wait, I just, you know, just talking shit, you know, that whatever comes to me. So that's where we were at there. Like that's where we're at, and then I just lost my train of thought because of that. Um, so like shielding, right? People insulting me, so because I said Nerve Burger has this like condescending tone, purposefully, obviously. I don't deny it, you know, Nerve Burger. I get it. It's I respect obnoxious as long as it's applied. You know, there needs to be some kind of um, you know goal of the obnoxiousness. You know, to just be obnoxious is like, what do you? That's I'm not about anarchy, guys. Despite what the streets say. Now, anyhow, so this insulting, because I'm such a curious person, right? Like, I don't think people can even really insult me anymore. Like, and I was bringing up my son and labeling and why it is important because I mention autism a lot. A thing I've noticed with my son, a thing I used to kind of fear or worry for him in that regard with his language barrier thing with the autism, I noticed back when I lived in public housing, apartment complex, right? Just life, playgrounds. Um, I would one time like they kind of bullied Damon. It did become like a house, like it became like a a a community concern because I got involved because these older kids were making Damon say like I like boys, like they were making him repeat shit to embarrass him, right? But he didn't know any better because well one he was much younger, so again like bullies, you know, like you fucking like you're like these 11-year-old kids like trying to sneak beers and cigs from your parents, and you're picking on a fucking at the time what 6-year-old like autistic kid, you know, and so I had a problem. That's where I had the issue. Bullying is just a thing, you know. But yes, when you involve it being consider it my son, right? You know, I got a little pissed. But I went about, you know, the parents, that was a cool situation, you know, got resolved, right? Kids are going to be kids, right? But that incident made me really like, you know, fear, I suppose you could say, for Damon's, like, future, like, the fuck? Like, how do you teach somebody with a language barrier to, like, I don't know. But where I'm going with this is, because you know they call them this influx of like the rainbow children, right? They refer to them as like spectrum kids. We'll say specifically like autism, like, and they okay. I've noticed on my son's channel. My son has a YouTube channel where he streams his video gaming videos, like all the kids do these days. You know, all the kids that are all that in a bag of chips. That's the thing. That's the bomb diggity bomb, in this day and age, is to upload you just playing games. But he is really good at what he does. So anyhow, there's been a few times. So I'm eyeballing, like I'm watching, I'm patrolling the streets, right, to make sure like who's his comments and all of those things, right, to make sure. I'm just minding my business, watching everyone else do theirs. You know what I'm saying? Like guys, like the fuck, like leave me alone. I'm sitting there minding my own business, watching everyone do theirs, and just keeping the streets safe in my son's platform. So, but there's times, right, where I've seen comments left by others that I believe their intention was to be kind of dickish, and because he's so pure, like he's so innocent, right? Even by child standards, he just answers it as like you can't troll. Basically, what I'm saying, you can't troll these kids, and it's so funny how like it always ends up every scenario on his channel I've seen. It always ends up like that. Like oh, you're good too, gay. Like it ends on like good terms, like. So I told you guys, there's always whatever cause, right? Like say vaccines or whatever, right? This influx of like this bizarre like sensory thing that we notice is prevalent in our culture now, and I believe in all countries. I think um, it's kind of like they're the rainbow children, they're here. It makes it harder to troll. It really does. Like you can't troll them, because, and even if you succeed, right, like, hey, like I'm gonna like this kid, right, he's so good at this, I'm gonna troll him and tell him to do this thing that's terrible and gonna slow him down or whatever. Yeah, they might like take you seriously because you can't troll them, and they might do it, but they're just gonna be like, "Oh, I shouldn't do it." They're never gonna connect you to the because of that, like because of that, like language barrier. Like it's so interesting. Their understanding is just different. The sense, yeah, I mean, we'll call them rainbow children, right? But yeah, it's so funny. That's kind of like me, but because I guys have mentioned the ADHD thing with me, or ADD, and it's that used to, I guess, at one point be considered in the DSM-5, whatever, it was considered psychiatric. It was on the spectrum of the sensory thing, and I believe that is correct. That was the correct way to go about it, guys. Um, so in that regard, like, you control me and I'm gonna know it, but for some reason I'm still doing it like I'm still like that, like I'm still just kind of curious. Like my thing is more like, why did, like, where's this trolling gonna lead me? Like, why do they want me to do? Like I. And because my intention is pure, just like Damon and these rainbow children, it doesn't mess me up as much as maybe like just not doing, like, being, what I'm saying, guys. I don't know if that makes sense, but it's funny nonetheless. It's funny nonetheless. So let's see, I'm in downloads now. So and here's the thing, like, yeah, like for sure. Now this is to Nerve in, like, particularly, I am okay with um like screen sharing, like, for sure I would be DT down to I'd be down to um learn. I'd be DTL like that with you. And I get you commented about like your annoyance with these. We'll just refer to them as TIs still, right? Like, because that's just what we know it as. So like your annoyance with this collective of TIs, right, and their paranoia of like anything tech, like the fact that they wouldn't click your links and shit like that. I can understand both ends. But much like, and I notice your disdain for, the Christian faith or whatever, and how it tying in to TIs. Well, here's another way it ties in with TIs. Here's something you'll find interesting. like being super hardcore Christian, you end up fearing everything. Okay, you're like I told you guys I'm fair in my I go by how I've led, so I know nerve burger. I'm sorry if spirituality of any kind makes you feel yucky. But so here's an explicit warning just for nerve burger and any other similar nerds out there or burgers that feel this way, because I'm trying to again never convince others of I just I what I my agenda in life in general is for people is to keep an open mind. Okay, that's always my agenda, regardless of the subject, regardless of the hot topic, whatever the case. Just keep an open mind or be open to having one. Not even you're not being open minded enough. Like I'm gonna ticket you. No, just can you at least be open to the idea of being open minded. And I know that is a very subjective, like, who's the judge of that? Me, guys, because I claimed it, nobody else has. So, as far as spirituality and Christianity, the tie to Christianity and TI is interesting because, yeah, a lot of them are like they are. That's a fact. That is a correct observation of yours there, Nerfberger. And I told you guys, I've mentioned on my channel, if you're not aware, Nerfburger, at one point in time, see, I was like, how to look to be what I would consider an intelligent gal, person, whatever vampire, whatever, folkloric thing I am that day, intelligent nonetheless. So to look at your environment and religion and not feel a way about it in question, it would be I don't know what to tell people who wouldn't do that. Like, oh, there seems like it's weird, like they're preaching these things, but then their actions don't match. Eventually you would observe that if you're observing things, besides just what others are. I don't know. So yes, in that like so I was always annoyed by religion. I've mentioned that in one of my first videos. The religious blip I blopped into. So I used to laugh about it. How can you not like poke fun? And I never, but I always the Jesus thing, like laughing about Jesus and like because I think however you were to look at like I'm saying Jesus in the sense of like I call it like the Christos energy, right? Like Christos. If you're looking at it like scientifically, right? This okay, we'll just say Jesus. It's a triggering name, guys. I know. No matter, and I again, I triggered fucking atheists. I triggered the Christians, and it's like, everybody's after me, and it's like, where, how does this happen in my life? I told you, even my meat eating, my choice in diet, somehow I piss off the vegans and the meat eaters because I'm right in that cozy middle of vegetarianism. Now extend that to literally everything in existence and every scenario and hot topic I could find myself involved with, and I am always that cozy middle I've mentioned before that I find myself in. So anyhow, this Jesus thing, right? Like I used to do that too, like yeah, rock out, Jesus. Like yeah, Jesus. I want to consummate I want to consummate my dedication to Jesus. Like shit like that. But I would do it not to trigger others, because guys, I never had friends or really any audience to trigger. So it was my own observation, I guess. I don't know. But anyhow, Christianity and TIs and tech and how yes, you are correct on that, Nerve, because like Christianity will do if you don't bounce out of it is make you fear everything. And I did get to a point like that, right? Because I threw out my crystal. I did that like every. It will do that, guys. It will, and that's why I find it necessary. That's why I think some of yous are grateful for my approach to things. Like you got to walk the walk, right, in order to understand things sometimes, and how you can fall into these like weird because and then at some point I'm like, so what then are you? That's why you end up becoming a nun or like a monk on a mountain, guys. Like, yeah, like you just avoid all things. In that regard, sure, it's easy to live a perfect life when you're not technically living life. You know, you're like you're an isolated hermit on a top of a mountain if you're Buddhist or whatever, or you're a nun. You know, just walking around helping others, and you know, just I fear everything. This is the safest. Yeah, it's going to take you there. The Christian faith, or really any religion, any like major religion, and any belief. I really, if you, but because because it's not proven, that's why it becomes so radical, right? So tying in with the TI thing, yeah, you do become, because that happened to me too with tech, where it's like clearly I don't trust anything, literally. So like like it will get to that point. So like my faith and my hardcore Christian like phase that I went through, I was able, you come to again, call me crazy, but yeah, I told you guys like, oh wow, this is really unhealthy, and I snapped out of it. And like the TI thing, as far as like technology, I've mentioned on Nerve Channel, like I just felt. I mean, at that point, guys, if you, I see, then I go extreme. I go just bounce from one extreme, and you just keep bouncing into all the extremes. Into that's how you come to a cozy middle, right? In Alchemist, right? Yeah, like so. I'm like, fuck it. If everyone knows everything about me, or if that's what I'm believing, then what do, so there's if you like okay, if I click on this link that they're sharing, okay, say this nerve gorilla, right? Like I went, let's say he's such a super hacker, like amazing program wizardly god, and I'm just this like out like I'm still counting, I'm still using rocks to do my maths and stuff, and pebbles, and he's like wizardly controlling me by me clicking these links he's telling me. Then I, rather than worry about it and try to fight it, I'm just gonna say like, hey, props to you, because then clearly you deserve to own me in that regard. You know what I mean? Like, guys, I'm all about like health, like respect, right? Like, I'm a gal about respect. Put some respect on it. Put some respect on my check, and anyone's check who deserves it. So yeah, that's where I went with that, from that extreme, like same like Christianity, and guys, the reason hmm, I guess I will talk about more about, maybe I'll explain some of that. So I never grew up religious, guy, like that this Christian, how that, and that's the scary thing. And whenever I see you atheists, or just like you, and what are they called, the agnostics, like you Dr. Pepper drinkers, right? You Dr. Pepper cozy middle ground peoples. Um, you I can understand your annoyance or concern, right? Because with religion, because again, take me, guys. Here's another. You know how I'm not Jesus? I was never baptized, guys. I wasn't. I wasn't baptized. Vatican, never. I didn't have. I. My sister was. My sister was. Dawn. She was baptized. I wasn't, guys. So you're talking. You're knock knock, let the devil in, as Eminem said. Yeah, I ain't fucking Jesus. Stop it, okay? I'm clearly the devil, and clearly out to get us all. I don't care I don't care anything about you other than you're a human I despise, and I want you out of my way for what I don't know. But I am the devil, guys. I was never baptized. I was never raised religiously. That was never forced upon me, nor was it discouraged, really. Like my mom, in that regard, guys, never really mocked, really. Like, you'd be surprised, right? And she left the Christian picture. Like, what the fuck? Like, guys, I told you I had very Italian grandparents, like the typical like Catholic arts you see. And she, I mean, like when the whole Pope thing came out, obviously, like that big around 2004, when all of like the SA Catholic like case like was coming to lay, yeah, she had something to say, but who wouldn't at that point? Like I said, if you're observing your world and seeing the hypocrisy of some of these religions, then yeah, that would be a good thing. Yeah, no force one way or another. Now, as I told you guys in that blip video, religious blip, she had books of well, my mom was I don't know if her official diagnosis as far as mental illness goes is bipolar disorder, right? But mind you, that was back in her times, and that just seemed to be the go-to diagnosis for women struggling with, like, you know what I mean, like it just was that thing that, like, ADHD now for me, right? Excuse me, because, and I'll go through with you guys like my my mental illness diagnose, like trial and errors of diagnoses. I'll touch on that, but bipolar was one at one point, and that don't fit the bill, guys. It just doesn't. Anyhow, but I do believe to a certain extent, yes, mania, right? Because they'll say, like, people with bipolar, when they get in these manic stages, they go shopping, they get excited. Yeah, I know I'm live. I was live fucking before. Whatever. Clearly, me to getting this message out. It's kind of fucking weird. I just mentioned the Vatican and shit, and how I'm Satan. Yeah, that was. I mean, come on, guys. It's pretty cool. What a coincidence, right? You know. But yeah, so my mother had a lot of books about all varying subjects, because when you are manic depressive, that is one of the signs. Like, yeah, you get a little excitable, right? Which is similar to ADHD, is it not? Like, where there's just days, guys, where I'm like, yeah, I'm pretty sure I could be present. Like, I refer to it as, like, yeah, I got this presidency thing. Like, tomorrow, watch out. Watch out. I'm making it to president tomorrow. you know? But guys, I blame that a lot on Disney. Truthfully, I blame that on Disney. I blame that on these songs that are so hopeful, right? That you sing, and it's like, yeah, like everything. I like call it God, just call it faith, just call it like my fairy godmother. Like, somebody's got my back, and I don't have to really worry anything about anything other than not worrying. So just do anything but not worry, and things will magically happen. You could call that mania, sure. I don't know, but so anyhow, she had a lot of, like, books on. I told you, astrology and shit like that. And I was always I think, even if I grew up in a household that didn't have those kinds of books, I think somehow would I have been drawn to it. I'm wondering, like, I mean, obviously you have some type of influence in your surroundings. Like, Dawn I attribute to providing me good musical influence. She's the one that influenced me into the Beatles. Dawn is the one that influenced me originally at like 8 years old to be a vegetarian, which I did do, guys, for quite a while, like a year almost. I was a vegetarian in, I think, like, third grade, because she copied, Paul McCartney. She was a fan of, that's her favorite Beatle. It's Paul McCartney. Mine is John. They're both cool. They're both very. There's different reasons. I like them both, But yeah, I'm more of a John gal, and she's a Paul gal. But um, interesting thing with the Beatles too. She influenced my music, So, like, and like taste in arts and stuff, like artsy fartsy. Dawn was the influence in that. So my mom was the influence in me, like, having these astrology books and stuff. So, and I found them interesting. She never forced them on. She never did. They just were around. Guys, I just knew I know how to entertain myself. Like, I don't know. Like, that's not that kids should be doing that. I feel. I don't know. It doesn't make me an intellect or like a nerd burger or something like that. How do I know when this is downloaded is the thing. Nerd burger, come on, come back up. Where do I go? How do I know when it's done downloading? What happened? Let me open up this. Okay, like, where did it fucking go? Maybe do I go to the, now, right, currently I'm using Firefox. Okay, so downloads. We're at three. Oh, we're not gonna live stream all that nerve. Okay, so I'll probably go, guys. But the interest and so the interesting thing, interesting thing with the John the Beatles thing, right? I found. Okay, if you're a John, take me and my sister. I'm a John gal. She's a Paul gal, right? Because that's who you relate to. But the other is the one you need to like they're singing to the other basically. So if you're a John gal, really Paul's songs are for you. And if you're a Paul gal, really John's songs are for you. Or those they would be each other's like north node essentially, like the energy you need to embody the opposite basically, right? Like Paul, and it's interesting too because Nerfberger, who doesn't like this silly astrology I speak of, the silly non pseudoscience that is really actually a thing, Nerfberger. We can agree to disagree. That's fine. If we bring it up, just know, I don't know. Maybe we need to make a list of like topics that we just don't talk about, and then I'll respect that. If you don't like me talking, no, you know what I'm gonna do. Okay, I know what I'm gonna do. I know. I got this. I know how to trust me. I know how to be obnoxious too, Nerfberger. And you made a big mistake by letting me know some things that annoy you. And frankly, really, you just let everyone know because you just seem annoyed in general. So when you come across another obnoxious person in life, like, do you think that wasn't going to happen? Big mistake to let others know. Talk about telling me like, hey, don't share your info. Yeah, don't share your info, Nerve, because now I can get on your nerves. You know what I mean? I'm gonna start referring. I'm gonna. I got this, guys. I got this world. I got this. I'm gonna get under Nerve's skin. Watch. Like purposefully now, not unintentionally, like I've been apparently this whole time. Yeah, Nerve. To sum up this live, I'm doing what you suggested. I appreciate the help, regardless. I don't take it that your intention is bad as far as the tech thing. And like I said, at this point, the extreme TI fear, any TIs or people who relate to that term, right, who are going through like that extreme, like you're in that super Christian point of faith where like, oh, the whole be of the world but not in it, and but you got too you took it quite too literally there, and now you're in this weird box of existence of like everything is scary except Jesus, but he's not like there. Like, yeah. And so you're in that in a technical sense. Like, yeah, guys, just don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. I come in peace. I come in love. Like The Simpsons, Mr. Burns alien. I come in peace. So maybe this is a good thing for the TI community world, like to say, look, don't be. And if and look, TI, where I'm talking to the TI, the victims, right, of this, we'll say, and then we're keeping these terms because that's what we all refer to them as. Hey, that's scary. Don't trust him. Oh my God, no, don't do it. Don't do it. And I'm sad. Consider this my sacrifice, right? Like, listen to Creed now and take that in. But like, yeah, you guys will see then, right? Hey, I'm the first one. Let's at least give these what should we call them? Well, goblin swarmers, right? Goblin swarmers versus TIs. We'll still refer to it as that because that's how we all seem to know each other, right? So we're still going to consider Nerve a goblin swarmer, and the TIs guys. And UTIs will see like, oh my God, like no, don't do. Are you why like Samantha? Like we care about you, and we don't want to see you. We don't want to see you. Like come on, no, no. Your coordinate points and shit, and like but like maybe it's good for the world to watch this and be like, oh look, that didn't happen, and this is how we can like better, and if it is a setup, right, guys? Like, then just know, don't fear, don't worry about me. Consider this, like I said, Creed my sacrifice. You know. So, like, let's all go listen to that now. I love Creed. You guys know that. Don't I seem like a Creed girl? Don't I? Like, you wouldn't think so. You wouldn't think so. Like, you would think I fucking hate Creed, right? And like, no. Like, usually it goes like this. It goes, I get in a Creed like spiritual mood, right? And then I get to their older stuff and I start feeling a little angry. So I veer off to Breaking Benjamin and I start punching shit. And then after that, I feel kind of guilty. So I go to Stained because it's like a lot of reflection music that I listen to. And then Basically, like, guys, I just, I was trying to cut myself off on this. That's where I was going with that joke, but it didn't work out because I'm streaming on a device I normally don't. I guess what, just hit X? How do I end this? Yeah, oh man, so that didn't work.